Hello and welcome to today's webinar, Introducing Book Outdoors, the fastest growing booking channel for outdoor hospitality. Presenting today is Brian Nolan, co-founder and CEO of Book Outdoors. Thanks everyone so much for attending, and I'll pass it over to Brian. Thank you so much.
All right, thanks for having me. And hello everyone that's watching, I appreciate it. Welcome, this is Book Outdoors. I'm Brian Nolan, co-founder and CEO. Today we're gonna talk about what is Book Outdoors and why it makes sense for you to list your property on Book Outdoors. So first of all, let's start with what is Book Outdoors. We are the premium travel booking website for outdoor hospitality. So you can think of us like Expedia or Booking.com, but focused only on outdoor hospitality. And you can list all types of outdoor accommodations on our site. I'll get into what that means here in a second. But I do want to point out that we focus on what we call professionally managed properties. So we're not talking about backyard operations, somebody that wants to turn their raw land into a campground. That's not what we do. These are all legitimate, usually licensed, professionally managed properties. And we have modern features and benefits that today's guests want and need. So let's get into some of these details. What does this all mean? First of all, you can list all types of accommodations, outdoor accommodations. So we're talking RV parks, tent campsites, glamping resorts, cabins and lodging, outdoor vacation rentals, marinas and houseboats even, really any kind of other, any kind of unique outdoor accommodation. And again, not individually owned backyards or raw land, but any kind of accommodation that can be considered an outdoor accommodation where people are staying there to get outdoors and and plan their trip around that. Let's talk about who we are for a little bit. So that's me. This company was started by Amir Harpaz, who is a campground owner and operator in the southeast of the US, and some other top leaders in the outdoor hospitality space. And they were looking for a solution like their friends that owned hotels, small boutique hotels, a solution similar to Expedia or Booking.com where they can distribute and list their inventory, their campground inventory, and get more visibility in bookings. And they didn't have a legitimate way, couldn't find a legitimate solution in the space that allowed them to do that for all the different types of accommodations. So they got together with myself and my other co-founders who are proven tech entrepreneurs. We've all started and built and sold technology companies, mostly in the e-commerce and e-commerce marketplaces space. And so we came together to bring each of our expertise into this space and build a solution for both the guest and the operators and owners of these properties to provide value to both sides. We're backed by leading investors from Silicon Valley and some of the executives from the largest travel and hospitality companies in the country and in the world, like Expedia and Booking.com. And again, our goal is to drive the industry forward by focusing really on the needs of the property owners and managers. A lot of companies are started to solve the problems of the guests. And while we are also doing that, because we think there's a lot of problems to be solved there on the guest side, this was really started as, and really our focus is to solve the problems of the property owners as well. So why list your property on Book Outdoors? Well, the main reason is so that we can market and advertise your property to a wider audience, which drives increased visibility and generates more bookings for you. We work alongside your existing website and existing booking channels. So we expect for you to list your inventory other places as well and allow guests to book in multiple places, not just through us. And our platform was really built for outdoor hospitality. So unlike Expedia or Booking.com, which are really built for hotels, we have all the settings, the rate and the fee structures and so forth that you would need to list an outdoor accommodation. So you can, in your listing for each of your sites, you can put the maximum RV length, for instance, that each site accommodates, or you can set fee structures that are specific to outdoor hospitality. We also support what's called unassigned accommodations. So In other words, you can have a guest book a site type, and then you can assign the site to them through your system or automatically when they book, or when they check in. So that varies, and that's different than Airbnb, where Airbnb, you have to list each site as a separate listing. So they have assigned accommodations, but we support unassigned accommodations. That allows you to maximize and optimize your grid and get as many people on your property and booked as possible. We cover the credit card processing fees. We collect and file the sales tax on your behalf. And we even create your listing for you and support you in all aspects of the setup and the sales. So we make it really easy to get set up. And again, dedicated to outdoor hospitality. So you're not getting lost in the noise of castles and hotels and mansions that are listed on other websites. Really, listing your property on Book Outdoors is risk-free. There's a couple points I want to make here. One is, remember, unsold site nights are expired inventory that can never be recovered, right? So as the days go by, if you have sites that don't get booked, you can, unlike physical products, you can never resell those nights again. They've passed, they're expired. And so you want to try to maximize and have your property and your sites listed as many places as possible to get visibility from as big of an audience as possible. Number two is, you can never have too much demand. So sometimes we hear, campgrounds say, oh, we have so much demand, we're booked up every single night, and we don't need to list our sites or our inventory anywhere. Well, that's untrue. You can never have too much demand. Excess demand gives you control of your pricing strategy, allows you to charge more for your sites, and therefore increases your revenue. So it's a simple, supply and demand curve that you've probably learned about in high school. The more demand that you have, the more you can control how much you charge for that. So we create this flywheel of demand and supply, and it helps both sides. It drives unmatched breadth of choice and ease of use for the guest, who are the demand, to come in and see all the properties and places to book. And it gives you a distribution channel with unrivaled discoverability and demand from our guests that are coming in. So in the middle is volume and reach, and this best-in-class experience that we provide to both sides. Now let's talk about why the guests use Book Outdoors. Well, today's guests really crave a comprehensive booking experience. They don't want to go and do a Google search and go site by site and try to figure out where to stay. They want the experience that they're used to in traditional hospitality and even e-commerce, where they can find everything in one spot, and they have all the modern benefits and features that they've come to expect in other areas as well. And so we offer that, and therefore this customer base is shifting to Book Outdoors. Let me give you some details about what that means. We offer trip protection on every booking. And so guests can opt in to different travel insurance options that we have, and including cancel for any reason. So that's an add-on that they can add, and allows them to, regardless of your cancellation policy, allows them to cancel the booking, get some or all of their money back, and you still get paid. So even though your cancellation policy may have no cancellation or whatever, the guests can still have a good experience and cancel if they need to, and you keep your money. We also offer weather protection for free on every eligible booking. So every guest gets weather protection if their booking is eligible for it. And that way, if it rains, if there's rain in the forecast, they get notified and they can cancel for a full refund. And again, you still keep your money and you still get paid, because this gets paid out as an insurance claim. Like I mentioned, we handle payments and taxes as well. So we assume the full payment risk on our side, handle any chargebacks, things like that. We give the guests options to pay over time with book now, pay later options, but you get paid directly from us for every booking through a direct bank transfer. A couple other things here. We have a rewards program. So guests, as they book with us and come back, they can earn points, and they can use those points to book in your campground where we cover that cost. We have a concierge support team that helps guests figure out where to go, plan, and book, and a modern intuitive interface that makes it really easy and streamlined to find what they're looking for, filter by the right um, attributes, and find your campground and book. So there's a couple ways as an operator, a campground owner or operator, to work with us. One is our preferred method is to connect seamlessly through ResNexus. So when we do that, we can automatically sync your rates and availability and send the bookings directly into ResNexus as they come in. And it's really hands-free and it's all automated. But we also have an interface where you can log in and see your property details, see the bookings in there, and if you need to manage things manually as well, if you don't have that integration set up yet. But again, we'll help you out through this whole process. We have a team dedicated to actually creating your listing and helping you through the process. So let's get into some details here. There's something I want to talk through, which is an overview of marketplace models. So in this industry, there's a few other distribution channels and OTAs and marketplaces. Some of them have different way of a different business model. So really the question is, who pays the commission? Who pays for these bookings? On one hand, the buyer or the guest pays the commission. So what does that mean? That means every time there's a booking, the guest pays some kind of booking fee to complete that booking. Really all this does is creates a source of friction for the guest and the buyer and reduces the number of successful transactions you can make. That's the reason it's really only used in about 2% of the top marketplaces where the buyer or the guest pays exclusively the fee. More likely, the situation is a hybrid model, which is primarily used on peer-to-peer marketplaces where you're putting together not a business on one side, but two peers, meaning more like Airbnb or Uber, where you have an individual person on each side of this marketplace where each side pays. But when you're talking about most marketplaces where you have a professional business on one side, like your campground or your property, and a guest on the other side or a buyer on the other side, in over 90% of the cases, the seller pays the commission, meaning the property owner or the campground. And that's a good thing because then our goals are aligned with you. We only succeed when you succeed. We're trying to get you more bookings, and for you, it's sort of a risk-free way to market your campground and only pay when there's a sale. So that's what you see with Expedia and Booking.com, and even some of the big e-commerce marketplaces like Amazon, eBay, and Etsy. They all use this seller commission model. And that's the same with us too. So that's how we do things that's our business model. And so when partnering with us, you sign up and list your property for free. So there's no cost to actually list your property. And you pay a small commission only when you get a confirmed booking from us. That happens all automatically as we pay you out. And to get set up with us is pretty simple, and we get you live in 3 easy steps. And once again, when listing with Book Outdoors, we cover all the credit card processing fees, which is close to 3% of the booking total in most cases. We collect and file your sales tax on your behalf, so you don't have to worry about that. We handle all the customer support and cancellations for bookings that come through us. We create the listing for you. And again, we don't charge the guest a booking fee. So like I said, getting started with us is simple. There's really 3 easy steps. Oftentimes we already have your property listing in our database, in our directory of properties. So, but if not, we will build it for you. Next would be connecting it to your ResNexus account, which we'll go through here in just a little bit at the end of this webinar and how to do that. And then it's really just getting started with the bookings. And so the bookings will flow seamlessly into your reservation system, and you get paid bi-weekly from a direct bank deposit from us. So pretty simple. Now I'm going to show you how easy it is for a guest to find and book an outdoor stay on Book Outdoors. This is our homepage. We'll get back to the search here in a second, but we have some predefined filters for guests, commonly used filters that make it easy for the guests to find either a weekend trip, something within a 2-hour drive of where they live, RV parks, camping site, tent sites, or glamping sites near them. We also feature, highlight some of the features that we offer, which I'll get to in a second. Make it really easy for the guests to also search by amenities. So if they're looking for something with a pool or Wi-Fi or lakefront or any of these amenities here, they can kind of scroll through and search by these as well. We also highlight some of the top areas in the country that are particularly interesting and popular for guests. And so that'll filter, when you click on these, filter and show you results based on the location there. And also some different featured properties as well. So when you list with us, you can get your properties featured on this page as well. Going back up to the top here, the search box, super easy. We help you fill in the details here. Let's say I want to go to Apple Valley, Utah. I'm going to look at this few days here in May. And it pops up the search results with a map here showing you all the different properties that are available. When you have an integration with us through ResNexus, your property shows up at the top of the search results as an instant book property. And all of these rates and the availability are real time. So we know exactly what the actual rate is for this date range and what the availability is. So let's say I'm going to look at this first property here, Range RV, which is one of our properties that are integrated with ResNexus. All the imagery for this property is shown at the top that the guests can look through, a short description, as well as a list of all the amenities and activities and utilities that are available on this property, even some scenery, what you can see from this property. Coming on down, we have all the different site types that are available. So we show you which ones are available for the nights that you picked. And you can filter these as well. If I only want to see RV sites, for instance, it would filter through and only show me the RV sites that are available. I'll come back to this in a second. Coming on down a little bit further, it shows you the location of this campground. What are some of the activities on or nearby the property as well? You can copy the address real simply. And then finally shows you the park's policies and rules. So this is where your cancellation policy shows up and all the rules that you have for your campground show up here. You provide this for us. This is all customizable, and we'll put whatever you want in here. Coming back up to the site types. Let's say I'm ready to book. I want to pull through site with full hookups. I simply click this button now. We do another check with ResNexus just to make sure the data we have is accurate and current. It is. So good news is this is available for May 18th through the 20th, 2 nights, the pull through site, like I said, and the 2 guests. And great thing here is all the guests are earning rewards points. So whether they book at a different property, they can redeem these points later at your property. This is something that we cover on your behalf. You can click on proceed to checkout. You can either log in if I already have an account, make it really easy, or if I'm new, I proceed as a guest, come in, and we have a 1-page checkout that makes it super simple for the guest to check out. So let me just enter my information here real quick. Put in a placeholder, choose the vehicle type. Let's say I have a Class C, 28 footer, and I have slide outs on both sides here. Enter your address, Denver, Colorado, 80202. And based on this address, we pull up all the different trip protection that's available. So we offer weather protection included on any eligible booking. So, which is most bookings. They have to be more than 15 days out, but weather protection is included, and we cover the cost of that for the guest. So they get weather protection. If it rains, they get the option to cancel their booking, and you as the campground get to keep your money if your cancellation policy doesn't cover them, which is great. They can also add on travel insurance and even cancel for any reason. Then they come on down, they can review the summary of the charges. They simply enter their card number and click on book now, and their reservation is completed and sent over to ResNexus automatically. We do have book now, pay later coming, which again, this is us. You as a campground get all your money up front. We offer this as a benefit to the guests so they can pay monthly payments over time. And it's that simple for a guest to find your campground and book it on Book Outdoors.
Fantastic. Thanks so much. And now, before we go on to the Q&A portion of this webinar, I wanted to quickly say that if you enjoyed this webinar and would like to view any of our other past webinars or register for upcoming ones, you can do so by going to resnexus.com. And if you scroll to the bottom, you'll see a webinar section. And if you click that, you can view our entire library of past webinars as well as register for upcoming ones. And now, as Brian said, I'm going to quickly demonstrate how you can get set up with Book Outdoors from ResNexus. Now, it's important to note that at the time of this webinar, Book Outdoors is in the final stages of beta, and it'll soon be live in the next week or two. If you'd like to become a part of the beta for the Book Outdoors connection, you can go ahead and contact support if you want to get set up sooner. We are ready to put more properties on Book Outdoors, you just have to let us know. But as I said, it will be fully live in a few weeks. And as soon as it is available, then this is how you'll get set up. You'll first go to your settings page, and then select the Direct Connect setting. From here, you'll click Add Channel, and you'll choose Book Outdoors from the list provided. And then you'll follow the instructions on that screen to get in contact with Book Outdoors and begin the connection process. And once that's finished, you'll map your units just like you would with any other marketing channel. And if you have any questions about how to get set up with Book Outdoors, you can reach out to your hospitality business coach or contact support using the contact information on the screen right now. And with that, we are going to move into the Q&A portion of the webinar. So if you have any questions, now is the time. Go ahead and put them in the questions field, and we will get those answered for you in the order they appear. All right, and while we're waiting to see if we have any questions come through for us, Brian, I just wanted to say thank you so much for taking the time to put on this presentation for us. I think you did a fantastic job.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the time. Maybe I did so well, there's no questions.
That might be the case. Brian, we do have a question. Someone's asking about pricing. If you can go over pricing again, they missed the first part.
Sure. So we employ a seller commission model, meaning that the property pays a commission on each confirmed booking. And the rates vary depending on how much volume and how many properties you actually have. But the base rate is 15%. And then, like I said, it'll go down from there depending on volume and number of properties you have. And this is in line with like Expedia and Booking.com and others. I'll note too, for anyone listening, we will be at some of the upcoming conferences and trade shows put on by the different state associations and national associations. So if you're going to any of those, you can find us there as well, and we'd be happy to chat in person.
All right, I think we had a pretty straightforward webinar. I think you did such a
Great.
fantastic job that we don't have a lot of questions at this time. So,
Glad to hear.
yeah. All right, well, I hope everyone has a great rest of your day, and we will see you later.
Thanks, everyone.